Coming up, how I stumbled upon a secret to growing the perfect African violet. Hello everyone, I'm Denise and welcome to the channel. You might have seen a couple of my thrifting videos, but I also post videos on gardening and also on houseplants. And speaking of houseplants, today we're going to be talking about African violets. And did you know an African violet can grow up to 50 years in captivity? That sounds pretty funny, doesn't it? But what you have to remember about houseplants is generally they've been brought in and domesticated from the outside, from their wild environment, and we've domesticated them for our own pleasure. But yes, this little baby can grow up to 50 years in your home. And today I'm going to share with you a little secret. I just happened to stumble upon it. And it is a secret to how to make these grow just like this little sweetie here. They're supposed to grow regularly, blossom regularly, and have happy, perky leaves just like this one. But we also know that African violets have a pretty good reputation for being fussy. If you're like me, you've run into many African violet problems. The first one is drooping leaves. Now, this is the most common cause of drooping leaves on African violets is overwatering. The leaves will droop if the soil is allowed to get too wet or if it's not watered enough. Therefore, make sure you keep the soil moist but not wet at all times. Number 2, pale or bleached out leaves. This means too much light. Causes leaves to appear pale or bleached out. To reduce light intensity, move the plant to a lower light source, and that should really help your bleached out leaves. Here's one I know all about, root rot. Again, this is caused by overwatering, poor drainage, or the plants just being planted too deeply. Older leaves will droop and younger leaves in the center of the plant appear stunted. They'll turn black or they'll die. Number 4, nutrient deficiency. This is caused by not fertilizing regularly, and this can lead to pale leaves, lack of growth, and lack of flowering. And last but not least is water left on leaves. You do not want to do this. It will cause leaf spots. Now, before you grow a plant inside, it's really important to know a little bit about the plant. So, for example, where it's from, its light needs, its water needs, and then also its soil needs. That way you can accommodate the soil or kind of mimic its natural habitat outside. The African violet was discovered in 1892 by Baron Walter von St. Paul, about an hour from Tanga in modern-day Tanzania. The Baron, realizing that the plant was different, sent specimens to his botanist father in Germany, who in turn shared the find with a friend at the Royal Botanic Garden in Hanover. This botanist, Hermann Wendling, realized the plant was new to science and named the genus after the St. Paul family and coined the species named violet-like or Ionantha. Okay, so let's get to the good part. How did I manage to make this plant, this African violet, so healthy and happy and beautiful? And one of the keys to the success of a happy, healthy, blossoming African violet is the pot. Now, this pot is actually 2 pieces. I'll tell you a little bit more about that in a minute. And you can get these, I got this one at the Salvation Army, and it says the African Violet Pot 1997 on the bottom. Now, what you don't ever want to do is to water an African violet from the top. As I said earlier, that will give the leaves the brown stains and you can get an awful lot of root rot that way. This pot encourages you not to do any of that. So let's take a look at how how it works. First thing is the larger glazed pot, and you'll see here on the outside is a hole to watering. And this is really kind of the genius part, which is the insert that is porous, so that water can be wicked up into the pot. So this is how this happens. You put water in here, about 1/4 of the way up. You then insert the piece that is porous and doesn't have any glaze, and then you place your African violet right inside. And what happens is the African violet will start to wick up or pull up the water through the porous part, only the amount that it needs, right? Only the amount that it needs. So I'm feeling in here, and this is still pretty dry. The African violet doesn't really need a whole lot in terms of water. Okay. So we put this in, we put that in, and we water it. Now, don't be surprised, as I said, if this stays a little bit drier than what you want. Now, these particular pots can still be bought on eBay and Etsy for about $30. Or in my case, I went to a Salvation Army and I just found this. I liked it for about $1. So this is one of my success secrets to growing African violets. Okay, so let's talk about the light requirements. I know that I said, and I'd read somewhere, that light never directly touches an African violet in its native environment or its native habitat. For me, what I do along with the pot is I have a lighting system here in my apartment, and then I also have lights installed under these shelves. And each one of these lights is daisy chained to the other one. So I only have one switch and the whole thing goes off, or then it turns on like that. And this is where this girl lives. She really likes this amount of light. Now, this isn't harsh light, and I keep most of my plants in the winter underneath this system. But this is where this little girl lives, and she really likes this light. And finally, the soil. I just use regular potting soil, and I just really have just had that sitting outside. And I do actually sterilize my potting soil to keep bugs and gnats out. And I will link a video down in the description below. A lot of people like to see that video on how to sterilize your potting soil. I will say the soil is the least important of the three for an African violet. In the wild, they actually grow on rocky soil, or literally in the cracks between rocks. Okay, so I hope my little secret has helped. My little African violet secret has helped. You can find these pots, again, you can find these pots pretty much. You can find them on eBay, you can find them on Etsy. They're probably $30. For this one, I just paid a couple of dollars. So you can scope out or, go thrifting at any of the thrift stores and see what you can find there. But this has really been the secret magic for me. The way it wicks that water up and it draws only as much as it wants. And I think you saw that. You can see right here, right? Yeah, you can see right there. It will draw up the water that it needs. Okay, so I hope this really helps. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.